Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel and the podcast. Today we have a 5-game, $100,000 to first contest on DraftKings. So I believe our fourth now, 100K to first League of Legends contest for the Thursday, April 16th slate. It's going to start at 3 a.m. East Coast time, so maybe not a major difference for you, but if you're somebody who's been staying up, grinding, looking forward to those South Korean potential lineups that might come out, it's mainly been locking at 2 a.m. Probably a bigger factor if you're in a different time zone, maybe the West Coast specific time. You're going to have now, instead of an 11 p.m. lock, which is more manageable, now it's a midnight lock time. So just be aware of that 1 hour difference. 5 teams instead of 6 teams playing tonight. We're going to break it down here position by position. We'll talk about some stacks, the rankings, or the Vegas odds. I'll have rankings and projections out a little bit later today. I'm shooting this at around 9:25 East Coast time. You could expect in the afternoons the projections for this slate. Put into your optimizers, use them to hand build your single entry 3 max, 20 max lineups, whatever it might be, your cash lineups, and the rankings for stacks, my interest, the sheets you're seeing over my shoulder, all that can be found linked below on Patreon, as well as CSGO, rankings, projections, statistics, all of that as well, and then some other stuff like the ENBA, lots of stuff happening over there. I'm an independent content creator. If you want to support me over there and get access to all of that stuff that I use daily, and about 300 people are currently using daily and seem to be having one enjoyment out of during this troubling time for many and just scary, uncertain time, but also just success with as well. So you can find all that stuff down below in the description. Also, this video is sponsored by Monkey Knife Fight. Before we get into it, if you want to receive $10, well, if you want to receive $15 on Monkey Knife Fight, it is a prop betting, sports betting site. They have some free, right now, contests for the NFL draft coming up. But if you want to play some of these esports over there and the other things that they are indeed offering, you get $15 free cash to play over there, and my League of Legends DFS course, which is about an hour and a half, and I'm going to be adding some things over the next couple of days to it. For just $10 deposit, you get a $15 bonus, and you get the League of Legends course. So you can link down below to find out how to do that on Monkey Knife Fight. Do all of that, you get some access. It's also a really fun site to play. Their props seem to be pretty beatable. My projections are very good for them, depending on if you can actually pick the proper game selections and you get good at that. So that's all that. That's who the video is sponsored by. That's some of my own plugs. Let's get into it now. So just starting at the top lane spot, you're going to see some huge favorites. I mean, you have at this point, anybody who faces Victory 5 becomes a huge favorite. Like you have Billy Gaming right now as an 833 favorite on the slate, and they only win 45% of the time. 45% of their rounds, they only have a 0.9 KDR, which their 0.9 KDR ranks, I don't know, six right here on the sheet that I'm looking at. Sixth average on the slate, but they're the huge favorite because they're facing Victory 5. Victory 5 has won 3.4% of their rounds. They have a 0.42 KD. Any team that faces them, like Billy Gaming, below average team, they are going to be priced up major today because of how big favorites they are, because of the fact that Victory 5 secures 19.7 deaths per contest. The next closest is 14.6 from LGD Gaming, who happens to be the next largest underdog today. So yeah, Billy Gaming is going to be appealing. They are average players that are going to get a well above average boost because of their opponent today. Victory 5, depending on what sport you like to play, it is the Coors Field of the MLB. It is like playing the Hawks for a point guard in the NBA. It's like in the NFL if you're playing the Falcons or the Tampa Bay secondary, the Chiefs run defense, right? All these things. It's just by far the best spot. It's going to prop up a ton of projections. So in general, yes, they're 833 favorite facing this team. They're going to probably win in a 2-0 sweep here and get huge points upside. So when you look at them, whether it's Kingin or Ad, probably going to be Kinnan today, starting as an 833 favorite, those 2.7 kills per contest are surely going to be higher in a victory today, somewhere probably closer to 3.524 kills in a projection. So that's going to look fine at 6,600. No top laner is going to top $7,000 today. So I think that's pretty appealing there. We'll see who starts for Funplex. Khan and Gimgun, they've been rotating all season. Gimgun has started recently. Khan, though, more recently consistently starting. We'll see who ends up getting the draw today. Whoever starts there, I like. You're facing LG Gaming, second most deaths per contest at 14.6 per contest. Funplex Phoenix is averaging 14.6 kills per contest, or 14.8 kills per contest. I do like that, 1.4 KD. Yeah, I think that whoever you get there is going to look like a very good option. They're both on average in victories, averaging around 3 kills per contest at just $6,400 and $6,200 price tags as 476 favorites, the second biggest on the slate. They do indeed stand out. Dragon X, typically what you get out of Dragon X is cheap price points, and they're a huge favorite here. Minus 400 favorite today. They are a 1.38 KDR, the third best in the slate behind E-Star and Funplex Phoenix. They only die 9.2 times per contest. That's the least on the slate. And they're facing APK Prince today. APK Prince dying the third most times in the slate, 14.1. So you're getting Doran, at $6,000 flat, somebody who is probably in a victory today going to see about 3 kills or so, probably going to see closer to 6 assists or so, at a very good price point, leads the slate for all top lane and creep score per minute. Doran at $6,000, that does stand out. So you're going to get cheap price points as we look through this a little bit on the Dragon X players, which don't seem to be all that justified. You're going to see very interesting between eStar and Top Esports. Both of them are naturally going to see differences in their price. You see on this slate, Ziobe for eStar is going to be the most expensive top lane. If you go down and you look at top at esports, you're going to get 369, a very good top lane, typically a most expensive on the slate type of player, not being that because being a slight underdog here. But eStar and top esports are pretty much pick'ems. eStar comes in, opens up as a -120 favorite. Top Esports as the underdog is also minus money at -109, -110. So this is pretty much a pick'em at this point. So you're going to get very favorable price points on Top Esports, even though they have a very similar chance to win their matchup against their opponents. eStar. So yeah, there's interesting spots to go here. We'll go over to mid lane. So I do think the winner of eStar and Top Esports is obviously going to wildly shift the slate. You're getting 17.7 kills per contest out of eStar. That leads the entire slate. You're getting 14.8 per contest out of Top Esports. That's tied for second. So the teams who, if you will, have the 2 highest kills per contest on the slate are now facing each other, and they're both even money. Again, I think they're both very good to play. If you have access to ownership, even if you don't, my course down below, again, you can get it for free. If you do the Monkey Knife fight, deposit at $10, they'll give you a $15 bonus and the course. But if you do that, you can figure out how to kind of project and get a sense for ownership on your own. If you're going to see higher ownership coming in on eStar because they're the slight favorite here, you're going to get a very similar chance of winning for Top Esports for cheaper price points as the underdog. Now, it could very easily end up being that Top Esports is chalky because they're cheaper, and I do see this happening since eStar is so expensively priced, and you've already seen it from the first 2 positions. They are the most expensive team so far. I think you end up getting eStar lower owned than they should be for their upside. Top Esports slightly higher owned than they should be for their upside because of basically just price point. So I do think it opens up some value there. So Crying, yeah, at 8,400, you have to pay for it. It's the best play in the slate, in my opinion, if you get the victory. Best play in the slate in terms of averages, 5.5 kills per contest, 8.1 assists per contest, very strong damage percentage. Doing B for Funplex Phoenix is just always an option for me. I do think that trying to get to 2 mid lane or 2 AD carry on the slate is going to be very essential, especially the more games that you get, the less I get away from trying to put a support or a top lane or a jungler in the captain spot. I don't totally get away from it, but the less exposure I'll have to it. On a 2-game slate, yes, just based on the fact that there's less players, and if one top lane goes off, you're probably going to need it. On this slate, if a top lane goes off for 70, there's still a really good chance that one of the AD carries just dropped 100 to 120 points, and it doesn't matter at all, and they're not going to be in your captain spot either way. So Crying, Doing B, the only 2 players at 8K or above, they are by far the ones that stand out the most. Fofo is going to be 7,800. Fofo is rarely above the $7,500 price range because usually they're underdogs, but the huge favorites here against V5. Fofo, when you look at Fofo at 7,800 compared to pretty much everybody else above $7,000, you notice a pretty striking and obvious difference in terms of average kills and assists per contest. It's like 1 kill lower per contest than anybody else over here, 1 assist lower, 1.5 assists lower than anybody else above 7,500. But it's because of being such a big favorite. I'll be interested to see where Billy Gaming's ownership comes in. They're priced up, but they have a very clear and obvious matchup. I'm going to have interest because of the matchup, and the price points are, I would say, fair. Chovy from Dragon X has started 40 games now this year, second most on this slate. 28.9 kill percentage, you're getting the highest creep, or 28.9 damage percentage, you're getting the highest creep score per minute. It's another situation where if you were to lock up the win here, which I do think Dragon X has a very good chance of doing so, minus 400 favorites, it does stand out. So this slate right now on a high level, Dragon X, Billy, both of their matchups in Funplex, I would say those 3 teams, they're the 3 biggest favorites, but both of their matchups really do shape up well when it comes to just looking and comparing Dragon Control, or looking and comparing Dragon Control for team points, but mainly lane control where their advantages are, and then kills per contest, deaths per contest. All those things really do stand out, and you're getting favorable price points on Dragon X, favorable price points really relative to other teams on Billy Gaming. And then the big difference, I think, is going to come from Top Esports and eStar's matchup, and pretty much a pick'em, if we will, for League of Legends relative to League of Legends. I do think that Top Esports and eStar The winner of that is going to be very appealing. I think E-Star is a better play just on paper, projection-wise. They're more expensive, so value-wise they won't be, but I think that leads to them being a little bit under-owned. We'll see later in the day. You can check back in on Patreon to check in on that stuff. Some underdogs, if you wanted to target the underdogs, one, Top Esports is an underdog that I think is worth targeting. A lot of these other underdogs, not so much. LGD Gaming, if you've been playing for the past month, you do know that they have some upset alert in them. Funplex Phoenix, though, is a team that usually does not get upset unless they're just taking their hands off the trigger. So if you wanted to go to Yuki, the mid laner from Funplex Phoenix, or from LGD, if indeed Yuki does start over Fen, which I assume, I do think that that's not a terrible option to get some lineups there, but not a ton of underdogs looking great. Top Esports is pretty much a pick 'em, but if you want to consider them an underdog, which they technically are right now, I think that that is okay to do. But LGD Gaming would be the only other underdog early in the morning that I have interest in. No real interest in Griffin. Definitely no interest in Victory 5, in my opinion. APK Prince, very meh towards. So in terms of underdogs, Top Esports definitely is very much in play as close to a pick 'em. LGD Gaming, although I love the Funplex Phoenix side a ton, if they come in like 1 or 2% owned, it's not a terrible idea to get at or above that at very low ownership. So that's some of the Slate strategy support players. You can see all the statistics on the screen right here. I mean, ShyOC, Crisp, they're the best support players in the slate in terms of assists. ShyOC, the overall most well-rounded support player. I think a lot of ownership comes in there just because naturally support players are cheaper, $6,400. So specifically for that position player on the team, ShyOC, just being well and above the best support player on the slate in terms of averages, I think that will stand out. Killa, if Killa was to transfer LGD or was to start over transfer LGD at just $5,000 is interesting. Again, this would be in your underdog stacks, if anything, at $5,000. But then at that point, you probably just stack the whole thing at four-man stack. You're getting 79% kill participation. So Killa as an underdog at 5,000 actually does stand out. This is some of the lineups and upside, at least out of LGD winning. A lot of their positions can pop off, not just like their mid lane and not just their AD carry. So I do think that ShyOC, Crisp up top are obvious options. You're seeing, again, Billy Gaming, a huge favorite, probably going to be one of the highest scoring teams in the slate, probably going to 2-0 sweep, being cheap. Zayumo is just $5,600 as a support player, the fourth most expensive, even though the biggest favorite. So I do think you're going to see relatively high ownership, but I think it's going to be justifiable. Crisp, I can never get away from Funplex Phoenix players who say bad things about them when they're big favorites. Kira for Dragon X, I think, is a fair price point of $5,800. And then if you're just looking down a little bit more, obviously Top Esports, if that's the stacks that you want to go to, once again, going to be cheap here. And I think that ends up getting them a lot of ownership. AD carry, your highest scoring player on the slate. And man, we have some really good AD carries in this spot. So first of all, Jackie Love is $7,200. If you've been playing, Jackie Love returned last time out. Jackie Love is a fantastic AD carry. Jackie Love is a slight underdog here, obviously. So just 2 starts so far, but in those 2 starts, 3.5 kills per contest and 11.5 assists per contest. Talk about the 10 plus bonus. But Jackie Love is from Top Esports, and they are the slight underdog today. I do think Jackie Love is going to be highly owned, and I do think it's justifiable. If you could put a $7,200 player who has 120 plus point ceiling upside in your captain spot, get the 4-man stack of Top Esports in basically a pick 'em, and they're a cheap stack for you, then you can fit in your Billy Gaming or your Funplex Phoenix or your Dragon X, probably in that order is where ownership might lie. I think it's going to be a very popular build. I can't really say too many negative things about it. It's offering high upside. You just have to get unique within your stack, maybe going with a one-off in the mid lane option, a one-off in the AD carry spot, because a lot of people won't build lineups that way. Wink, LWX up top, they're fine, right? Jinju fine for Billy. That's actually a really cheap price point at $7,800 for a biggest favorite AD carry. But then Jackie Love, I think, is really interesting. As long as Jackie Love continues to start over Fotek, I think you're going to get Jackie Love lineups in the captain spot with 4-man stacks being a very, I would say, owned play, but there's obviously ways to get different. And you can look at the course for some of those, and I'll be adding ways as well. Jungler, lots of junglers usually make my exposures. Junglers in terms of the favorites, they're all right there. There's 2 above. I mean, we for 7,600 for E-Star. I could probably assume that I won't have a lot there. If I'm having 4 or 3-man stacks of E-Star, it's probably not by getting to we, just optimize-wise. Yes, 11 assists per contest is 3 more than anybody else in the slate. 2.6 kills per contest is strong. That's top 2 on the slate. We is a fantastic, WEI is a fantastic option on paper, but as a pick 'em pretty much today, a -120 favorite over Top Esports at 7,600. That is a steep price to pay. Meteor is like the only Billy Gaming player that is actually expensive relative to the other players. One of 2 players above 7,200 or $7,000 at 7,200 makes me okay to get to it if it falls into stacks and exposures. I just assume I'll get to much more Tian from Funplex at 6,800, who in my opinion is probably maybe the second best jungler on the entire slate. from Dragon X. Xiosic is going to be a strong option. So like the second tier of guys is probably where I end up getting to most. Tian, Xiosic, Karsa from Top Esports. Those are the players that I would assume I get to more just because their value fits in more. Junglers are usually, when I put in my randomness, not going to have as much randomness as AD carry and mid lane. So I won't get a lot of their spike performances outweighing my AD carry and mid lane spike performances. Interesting to note that Peanut from LGD as a huge underdog is actually the fourth most expensive jungler. Peanut's a fantastic jungler, but is a huge underdog. Leads the slate in kills, leads the slate in damage percentage for all junglers. It's hard to ignore that. So again, LGD is going to be a stack that I have ownership towards. If I'm entering for using easy numbers, whole numbers, 100 lineups, I'm not entering 20 LGDs. Maybe I get to 5. I get 5%. They're only 1 or 2% owned. I feel good about that. Maybe that's even a lot. So you're seeing here, there's a lot of upside out of LGD if they win. You can just note 13.9 kills per contest. That is on this slate fifth, and they are a huge underdog, so they're obviously higher than a couple of the favorites. I do think they have upside if they can pull off the victory. I don't think it's likely, but if you're telling me what underdogs I like, Top Esports, LGD Gaming, as of right now, that's all that stands out. And here's the team page, so you can just, I'll have exposure to all the favorites. I'll have exposure to this 5 favorites right now and Top Esports as a slight underdog. So those 6 teams. Maybe I'll put LGD Gaming in so I can get unique 2-man stacks, maybe even 3-man stacks with them in a couple of lineups, but I'm probably going to X out definitely Victory 5, probably Griffin, and probably APK Prince by the end of the day out of my exposures for the team slot. I'll probably X out all Victory 5 players, and I might X out all Griffin players. I might have some APK players floating around my exposures, not positive yet. But hopefully this video helps you. Check out down below in the description some free strategy guide giveaways. Just not even giveaways, they're free down below for DFS. I have a League of Legends course that you could either pay for full price, $30, or you can get it for free if you deposit $10 on Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight's the link over there is linked down below. What you get is you click the link, you deposit $10 or up to $50. They'll give you $50 matching, but if you put in just $10, make it the easiest for you. They'll send you $15 bonus upon your first deposit. They will also then let me know, and I will send you the course. That is all linked below. If you want my projections, rankings for all the esports that are available, they're out today. They'll be out later today for this League of Legends slate for tomorrow. That is linked down below on Patreon. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. My name's Sal Vetri. You can reach out to me with any questions in the comments down below or over on Twitter at SalVetriDFS. Take care, everybody. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed that video. Above my head, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, I do ask you if you can please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a good amount to reach more people. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's over there. Right in the corner is my @SalVetriDFS Twitter. And then above, you'll find my Patreon link. You can click on that if you want more exclusive content for me. Or a video is going to pop up, so why don't you check that one out as well. I think it's going to be beneficial for you. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.